Nepotism. When those with power or influence favor relatives, friends, or associates, especially by giving them jobs. This isn't unique among the NBA or other professional sports. This happens everywhere in society. From your normal everyday jobs to political positions, the fact is, nepotism exists. There are plenty of second-generation athletes, sons of former NBA players, who get more opportunities than somebody with no connections. Of course, not everything is nepotism. Some players are truly talented, with incredible work ethic to get to where they are today. I'm sure being the son of a former player gives you advantages. They can hire the best trainers and travel across the country to different tournaments, but they still deserve to be there. In other situations, that's not the case. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today, let's take a look at some egregious examples of nepotism in the NBA, involving players and executive front office positions. The most glaring player in recent times is probably Thanasis Antetokounmpo, the older brother of Giannis, who's been with the team for several years now, but he's basically a glorified cheerleader. I mean, whenever he does play, he doesn't even look like he belongs on the court. Even in the EuroLeague prior to joining the Bucks, he was a bench warmer there too. In what situation would an NBA team sign a bench warmer from the EuroLeague, if not for nepotism? An anonymous NBA GM was asked if Thanasis would be on an NBA team if it wasn't for his brother's request, to which he responded, "Hey, we know what that's all about. It's all about appeasing Giannis." But to answer your question, no. From a purely strategic standpoint, it's honestly a great deal for the Bucks. They want to do whatever they can to keep Giannis happy and remain in Milwaukee. If that means signing his brother to a minimum contract to be the 15th man on this team, that's okay. While this is the most notorious example of nepotism today, it's not even that bad, since most teams don't even give minutes to their 15th guy, so it doesn't affect their roster that much. Another case is Keljin Blevins, the cousin of Damian Lillard. The Blazers signed him for a couple of years, presumably to try and keep Lillard in Portland. They wanted to do whatever they can to get him to stay, but it didn't work anyway. Oh, and here's another one. For other Knicks fans out there, do y'all remember Chris Smith, the brother of J.R. Smith? Back in 2013, when JR was on the team, the Knicks signed his brother to a contract, and it was so absurd that the NBA stepped in to investigate this decision. According to Woj, an NBA GM contacted him and said Chris Smith was, quote, maybe the worst player in the history of the NBA Summer League. Coach Mike Woodson even admitted that Chris had a higher chance to make the roster due to his family ties. He even said, "I look at Chris just like I look at JR, though JR is the guy who played in a uniform and has been very productive for us. I have a great deal of respect for that family. That's his brother. I respect that." Chris also changed agents to be with the same agent as JR right before Summer League started. I mean, it literally cannot get any more obvious than this. At the end of the day, Chris appeared in only 2 games in the NBA. And after his contract on the Knicks expired, nobody even looked at him ever again. I'm sure there's been many cases of player siblings getting a contract with the same team, and it sucks sometimes. I know being the 15th guy on the team isn't saying much, but it's still taking away a spot from another player who deserves it more. Regardless, these instances of nepotism pale in comparison to things that happen on a much higher level, most notably in front offices. Have you guys heard of Travis Schlenk? Well, he was the Hawks' president of basketball operations from 2020 to 2022. Schlenk was responsible for drafting Trae Young, John Collins, Kevin Huerter, and DeAndre Hunter. He made some key trades to acquire Gallinari and Bogdan Bogdanovic, turning the Hawks into a playoff contender very quickly. Overall, he was doing quite well managing the team. In late 2022, Nick Ressler, the 27-year-old son of Hawks owner Tony Ressler, became the new president of basketball operations. By early 2023, it was reported Nick Ressler's effect on the decision-making process played a pivotal part in the power dynamics that ultimately led to Schlenk's exile. This was a bit of an open secret around the league, and it is clear that Nick Ressler's voice is being heavily considered on all things Hawks these days. Apparently, it was Nick Ressler's idea to push forward with the DeJounte Murray trade, even though Schlenk was heavily against it. It's too early to decide if this trade ends up being good or bad. The Hawks gave up their 2025 and 2027 first-round picks, which are yet to be seen. The nepotism here is kinda crazy. Travis Schlenk spent over 2 decades working his way up, from a scout to a video coordinator to assistant GM, jumping around multiple teams until he got his big break with the Hawks. So when the owner's son, with less than 3 years of experience in the front office, pushed him out like this and took his job? That's ridiculous. Kirk Lacob, the son of Warriors owner Joe Lacob and current president of the Warriors, is another example, though at least Kirk spent over a decade as an assistant GM on the team. He also spent years managing the Warriors' D-League team, the Santa Cruz Warriors, and helped them reach multiple finals. He did a great job. Unlike Nick Ressler, Kirk had a sizable resume and credentials to back it up. The same goes for Eric Spoelstra. He got hired as a video guy because of his dad, but he worked his way up to become head coach, and he deserved it. The Lakers have recently seen the rise of the younger Buss brothers, who are both gaining traction in the executive ranks, though Jeannie has shown that she's not afraid to fire somebody even if they are her brothers, like how she fired his brother Jim Buss before. However, it's not just family members either. Nepotism also extends to friends. And what better example to use than Michael Jordan's entire tenure in Charlotte? It was a running trend that Jordan only hires people who are his close friends. Going all the way back to 2006, when he hired Fred Whitfield to be the president and COO of the Bobcats, and they've been friends for over 25 years. For Jordan, it was a way to take control of the decisions, because he knows his friends aren't going to say no to him. Through the years, he has not changed. He hired Buzz Peterson, his former college roommate, to be assistant GM. He hired Mike Dunlap as a coach. He hired Rod Higgins, his former teammate on the Bulls. Heck, even when Jordan was managing the Wizards, he hired his former coach, Doug Collins. Remember when Jordan and Barkley had a falling out? Well, it was because Barkley called him out on this. Coach-player nepotism exists as well. I feel like Austin Rivers is the poster boy for this, even though I don't think he should be. Now, there was a time when Doc was in charge of the Clippers and he signed Austin, but Austin was a legit NBA player. He got ample minutes in the rotation and he was not bad at all. Heck, Doc even traded him away, and he could have easily got him to Philly, but he didn't want to. There is nepotism involved since he did give his son a chance to get back on his feet when no other team would, but Austin himself proved he belonged in the NBA. Back in 2013, there was a huge NBA investigation where the Federal Labor Department got involved too. It centered around Billy Hunter, the executive director of the Players Association since 1996. An audit discovered Hunter exploited questionable business practices and nepotism. He had hired his daughter and daughter-in-law to high-level positions, and also hired his son and his financial services firm, where he's been getting paid since 2001. It was a huge ordeal that basically led to Hunter stepping down from the Players Union, and the union cut ties with all his family members. Multiple players, including union president Derek Fisher, voiced his concern for Hunter's blatant nepotism and unruly practices. It led to the union adopting new anti-nepotism rules to make sure something like this never happens again. There are some other low-key instances of nepotism, like when Dwayne Wade became a minority owner of the Utah Jazz, a few months later, his son got drafted to Utah's G League team. Finally, of course, we can't make a video like this without talking about LeBron. Even LeBron himself admitted his 2 sons can go anywhere they want because they're his sons. It's still yet to be seen how good Bronny or Bryce are gonna be. For his 2 sons, they most certainly will get a chance in the NBA, even if they're not good. It's a good business decision. No matter how bad they are, they'll draw in viewers, because people want to see them. We all want to see LeBron's sons play, whether they fail or succeed. Anyway, that's all folks. Nepotism exists everywhere, more so in front office positions than on the actual court. I think when it comes to professional sports, it's actually less of a problem compared to a normal job, because you still need an immense amount of talent just to make it a possibility. Physically, athletically, there's a huge barrier to entry. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Can you think of any other examples of blatant nepotism? Thank you all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and of course, as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.